Good morning, YouTube. It's Blair here, and today we're taking a break from boat building and we are going to take a mountain bike ride. And it's not just any old mountain bike ride. So I'm building a freshwater aquarium and I'm trying to find decorations for it. I bought a bunch of cheap plastic ones. I hate those things. I like natural material. I'm doing a lot of live plants and stuff like that. So I'm going to find some driftwood today. We live in beautiful Seaford here on the Chesapeake Bay. There's got to be somewhere to find some driftwood, right? And if you go online and buy it, it's super expensive. So I'm gonna show you the process of finding driftwood. We're gonna see what else we find on the beach. We gotta get Ashley's moisture shells. We got some snacks packed. We're gonna ride down there, and then when we get back, I'll show you how to make this stuff aquarium safe. So here we go. Let's hit this biking, get this kicked off. Any final word or first words?
Always have fun.
Always have fun. Safety first. Safety first. All right, beautiful day for a bike ride, guys. There's Jay's house. Just take a little cruise through Seaford with me today. So Seaford's been around since colonial days, like 1700s, I think. My family's actually the 13th generation here. We used to own everything from the school pretty much to the water. So at one point everything you see was family property. It's funny how this stuff gets divided up by kids and more kids and more kids, marriages. Next thing you know, you got a half-acre piece of land left over that you live on instead of this giant beautiful oasis here at the mouth of the York River. Beautiful little town though, great to ride bikes in. Nobody gives you a hard time. Not too much traffic, especially being a Sunday morning. So, just cruising along. Jackson's taking us along his bike route. Him and all his friends ride. And it keeps us off the main road, which is cool. Better scenery, more suited for a mountain bike tire anyway. All right. Well, we made it. Beautiful Bay Tree Beach, guys. And so this is not public access. We actually have lease rights to this property because we pay them. A bunch of families here in Seaford pay this guy to let us use his beach, which is very generous of him. Huge shout out to him. I'm not gonna give his name on here because he don't want the phone calls, but yeah. So we made it. We're at right here on the tip of Seaford. It's really built up. There was only about 3 houses out here when I was a kid. And I was just telling Jackson hunting stories out here. Shot a nice 8-pointer back there, 7-pointer, all kinds of game all along in here. But we're gonna see if we can pick up a few pieces of driftwood, clean up the beach a little bit while we're here, pick up some trash, and get some oyster shells for the wifey. Alrighty, you can see this isn't for everybody, but we have permission to be here, so we're gonna walk on back through here and see if we can find some driftwood. Beautiful Bay Tree Beach in the wintertime nonetheless. And oh wow, I did not notice this. This used to be a pond, which has now been blown through. And it's its own little canal. That's really cool. Check that out. There's Ashley's seashells.
Mission 1 complete. Mission 2.
Tons of shells. I mean, there's so many, I just don't even know which ones to pick up.
Yeah.
It's a little overwhelming. Here we go. There's some pretty ones right here. Little pretty piece of beach glass. This one. That's a pretty one. All right, there's our first piece of driftwood. And again, we're gonna cut all this stuff and make cool shapes out of it anyway, so it doesn't have to be perfect. I can actually break this off down here and things like that to fit it in the backpack. But I do like that long piece right there. So piece number 1, I'm just gonna make a little pile right here. All right, we are truly exploring now. So I tried to jump across this little ditch and sank big time. Got water all in my shoe, and we want to save Jackson from that. So we are gonna make a land bridge.
Are you sure that thing's sturdy?
No? We can try it.
All
All right, we're truly exploring now. So I wanted to jump across this thing, sank on that side, plop my foot in the water on this side. So the marsh always provides, man. I was just told Jackson, I said, hang tight, don't get your feet wet. Walked right over here, found a old deck board that had washed up, and we made a little land bridge. Did it work?
Yeah. I was very skeptical, but
Jackson did not want to try it, but once he did, he realized Dave knows what he's talking about every once in a while. And look, we're not taking anything away from this ecology here, this ecosystem, by taking a few pieces of driftwood, because if you look, this whole beach is nothing but washed up driftwood. So we're actually kind of doing it a favor by thinning it just a little bit, and all of this is good driftwood. That is a beautiful piece of driftwood. That's heavy. It should stay in the bottom of the tank. I'm going to use this as the base and build off of this. I like that a lot.
so we've only been here about 10-20 minutes, and we found all of this insane amount of driftwood. We found this beautiful piece right here.
Let's take a look at that.
Fish can swim on in through there.
Look at all these little holes and just growth. That's what I was looking for, is these kind of like root nodules that grow. Oh, look at the backside. Stuff can lay up in there. That's pretty cool. What else do we got?
We also got this piece. It looks like a brain. And
Oh,
we
yeah,
got
check
this
that
little, two little pieces that stick out. And then these that can swim in here and all throughout.
The
through
shrimp are going to
hole.
love these things. And then we got this big chunk right here. It's a good piece of hardwood. It's heavy. We're going to use that as a base. And then I got a bag full of miscellaneous pieces to just cut and piece together. Because as long as you cut it on the side that you're attaching to something, you won't see that fresh cut edge, so that you won't have like a bright shiny spot. It won't look unweathered. So we're going to take all this home and try to put it together and make something. But first we got to get it out of here. Called the wife, and she's going to come pick up some of this driftwood for us so we don't have to bike it all the way back. But mission accomplished. We found our seashells, found a couple flat rocks that we're going to use to glue some aquatic plants to. And we got out and had a great time on a Sunday. Got me away from the boat for a day. Got me hanging out with my kiddo. And just enjoying the outdoors. It's not always about hunting and fishing on this page. You know, we like to do other outdoor activities too. And going on a scavenger hunt on a Sunday by bike is pretty fun too. And we all got outdoors and got to see nature and see this beautiful world that the Lord gives us. So we appreciate you coming along and watching with us. So we hit jackpot on a driftwood. We got a ton of it. A bunch of different pieces, sizes, shapes. And now we're gonna cut this stuff up, get it down to the size and plan it out, and then we'll boil it. And the reason you boil it is to kill all the bacteria in it and to help get some of the air out of it. So once we boil this stuff, it should sink a little better, but also it kills all the germs and stuff on it and gets all the salt and sand off of it. So it's a must, especially when you're using stuff from salt water. All right, so we're starting with this heavy piece of wood here because it's going to be a nice base for us. What I've done is I've cut it flat here and here because this will allow it to lay in the corner, and should be perfect fit for what we're trying to do here. You can see we're just going to work along and just plan it as you go. There's no right or wrong way to do this. It's just what you want it to look like when you're put it in the aquarium. Well guys, I think I got it all figured out. This is what we're looking at. It looks something like this. And when you're building it, you know, you want to, this is going to be the front of the tank. I gotta cut this one off right here, but you can see I got it flat here to butt the tank, flat here to butt the tank. The other piece behind it's flat as well. We're just gonna cut this one flat. This gives you good viewing into all the little spaces that are gonna be in here. And it gives a lot of little cover areas for like your catfish and all those guys, and your shrimp will just climb all over this stuff. It's going to be really cool to see how they react to this stuff. But first we got to boil this, so it's gonna be a pain in the butt because some of these pieces are pretty big, so we'll have to boil one side, flip them over, try to boil the other side best we can, and get them as clean as possible. But all in all, it's still going to be a little bit of a bear on some of these bigger pieces. But I like having these spiny like fingers coming off of this stuff, because it really gives the fish something to like swim through and play around, and you know, just provides activity for those guys. So that's how we're going to lay it out, something similar to that. I'm going to take a picture of it, document it as best as possible so I can recreate it. But if nothing else, I mean, I'll get it close. All right, we got all our driftwood in here the best as possible, and we're just going to bring this to a boil. and really sterilize all this stuff. And it'll loosen up a bunch of the dirt and bark and stuff off of it as well. One reason you're going to do this is to boil all the tannins, which is the brown stuff that comes out of your wood. And that will also stay in your aquarium water. So it's really good not only to sterilize it, but to boil it and get all those tannins out of it. I'm going to tell you one thing. This is an all-day process. So I am boiling for the 3rd pot, and it is still coming out brown. So you really got to make sure you take your time and just really boil the heck out of this stuff, because if not, you're putting nasty stuff in your fish tank. So when that water stops turning brown, I'll stop boiling it. All right, so starting to build my creation now. What I've done is I've taken 2 pieces of driftwood and I just cut these little shish kebab sticks as dowel rods. Drill it out on each side, pin them together, super glue it, and it holds everything super well. And a secret that I learned online was if you use cotton, which I'm using the tips of these cotton swabs, when you put that on something with super glue and then you wet it with super glue and then stick something to it, it super bonds it. So I've been doing that on all these little shells and things like that. So I've got a little Seaford scape here, some oyster shells, some Seaford driftwood. I'm going to continue to put these oyster shells on it and just kind of build a shape that allows you to see into it, but they still feel comfortable. So that's kind of your view into the aquarium, is you'll be able to see in all these little nooks and crannies, but they'll still feel safe. All right, there it is. The new freshwater aquarium castle. It's got some cool little resting spots for some fish, maybe some shrimp. Put some moss or something in there. But Seaford driftwood and oyster shells. Looks pretty awesome. So the things I learned today are: make sure you boil your materials. Make sure you don't use red cedar. That's a big thing to know there, because here in Virginia we have lots of eastern cedar, and that red cedar is toxic to fish. So don't use red cedar unless it's super weathered, and I'd still be leery of it. And outside of that, use dowel rods and a little bit of super glue on a Q-tip, and that will glue all this stuff together. It made a world of difference. This stuff did not want to stick together until you start doing that, and then all of a sudden you got a great bond. So a couple takeaways there. We're gonna let this thing dry for overnight, and when I get back from Raleigh, I'll put this thing in the fish tank. If you haven't yet, tell them what to do, Jackson.
Hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment.
And there you go. We'll see you on the next one.